We're going to look at the pros and cons of this unlimited leave with two of our guests. First, Tom Jelneck. He runs the On Target Web Solutions. And joining me right here live in the studio, Peter Marici from the University of Maryland. Welcome to both of you guys. Tom, let me start with you. This idea of unlimited paternity leave isn't necessarily new. A lot of countries have plenty of paternity leave. Why this? Why now? Why tech companies in the United States?
Great question. And so in the tech world, we're seeing so much competition to get the best, right? We want the brightest. We want the most versatile. We want the most motivated employees that we can get. So I really think that they're having to really up their game when it comes down to being competitive in benefits.
Okay, but if it's about getting employees, I mean, the simple solution is just why don't you just pay people more? I mean, wouldn't that attract people to come to your company?
Sure, and that's certainly one of the ways, but think about it this way. We want innovative people in our businesses, right? We want creative people. So the more time we give them, the more life balance and work-life balance we give them, the happier and the more motivated they're going to be. The theory is it helps impact the bottom line.
Yeah. Tom, I think if you took a poll of people on my business team or anybody else in this office, for example, I can't find one person who'd be against having more vacation time. Peter Marici, are you for this or against this?
Well, I'm for companies doing what they think is appropriate for their employees. For example, if they think it's appropriate and they can afford to give them maternity leave, that's good. Certainly, we don't get zero. That graphic was absurd. I don't know anybody who doesn't get vacation time. How many weeks of vacation do you get a year?
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, of course not. You don't want anybody to know. But the fact is you do get vacation time. Leaving the marketplace to do this, competition among those tech firms will determine what they can afford, what is appropriate.
You're basically against federally mandated
you got it.
leave.
Think
so
about
you're not
this.
against leave. You just don't want the government to tell the companies how much leave they should give. Am I right?
When I did this story about 3 or 4 months ago on a local station in Washington, someone pointed out in Norway, it's a very different notion to have 50 weeks of imposed maternity leave when you're running a hardware store with only 11 employees.
So if you ran a company, how much maternity leave would you give your employees?
Depends on what kind of company it was. I don't think I could give somebody a year off if I was running a company with only 8 employees because I would miss that one employee too much. Also, you have to consider the culture of the organization. I think if you gave in some U.S. government agencies unlimited vacation time, why, nothing would ever get done. I'm all in favor of giving unlimited vacation time to the people that work at the IRS, because then there wouldn't be any more tax audits.
Hold on,
They'd be off all the time.
You are a professor. I know how much vacation time you get. It's substantial. You manage your time. You get things done. You get to your projects, right?
I basically take 2 weeks off a year, 2.5 weeks off a year. That's it.
All right. Tom, does what Peter say, does that make sense that we shouldn't have government being involved in telling companies how much they give? If the companies want to give away vacation days, go right ahead. What's the problem with that?
So here's one of the other problems with the businesses, right? So a lot of companies let vacation time accrue and roll over. So if you potentially give an employee unlimited vacation, you don't have to worry about carrying that debt or that potential debt on the books of the company. So, if Susie doesn't take vacation, and she's doing it, 2-3 times over 3 years, and she leaves the company, well, that company is liable for a big fat check. Yeah. So to answer your question, I don't think the government honestly has much, shouldn't really have their fingers in this.
Let me focus on one aspect of it, because I think we should separate vacation days versus maternity days, because I view maternity as a health issue for the mother who has just had their baby, both the mother and father. Obviously, there's a huge change of responsibility for both of them. Should the U.S. government, in your opinion, offer forced maternity leave, and by how much?
In my humble opinion, no. I think that should be up to the company and in between the company and the employee.
Okay, Peter?
No. If we did it, we'd have to pay for it. And I would point out...
So what?
Okay, well, we did the tax comparison. In Norway, 43%, here, 31%. But Americans spend about 10% more of GDP on health care. So in reality, where in Norway it's in the taxes, the burden is about the same. The question then becomes, how do you pay for it? And that becomes a very difficult problem.
But does how do you pay for it outweigh the mother's concern that she might be scared to even take, even if you gave her the time off, she'd be scared to take the time off, coming back fearing that she may or may not have a job, or at least have the same promotion opportunities, right?
We have legal protections against discriminating against people for having to be sick or to take time off for a valid health reason.
But how are other countries doing it? Other countries...
Well, they're doing it very differently than we are. I acknowledge that. And also, Europe has lots of problems. People like to compare the United States to Western Europe. I'd point out the United States is growing. Wages aren't falling. They might not be growing rapidly right now. But we're doing a lot better than those countries are. They have all kinds of benefits over there. But you know what's the biggest benefit they have of all? Much more unemployment than the Americans do.
All right.
And the other thing is,
let's be honest, that's a different conversation.
Also, Europe now has an economy. The EU is larger by GDP than the United States. I bet you I can tick off really quickly a lot of American innovations. Over in Europe, they're on vacation. They're not innovating. They're at the beach.
Tom, what do you tell mothers who say, look, I want to have this maternity leave. I'd like the government to give incentive to companies to allow me to have time to take care of my newborn child. Why can't we have a month, 2 months, 3 months? I mean, can't we start with something in this country?
So again, I'm not about government stepping into my organization or anyone else's. I really think if you're a responsible, ethical, people-driven organization, you have those conversations and you create policy that's really going to help those people grow and blossom and have a really solid work-life balance.
But to that case, what we hear from companies is they don't want mothers to ultimately quit the jobs just to take, they don't want mothers to have to choose between career and taking care of the home, right? I mean, isn't that a very big question? Why don't we make it easier for moms, and for that matter, even dads?
And I'm all for that, but I certainly think that it could be up to the business to handle that without the intervention of the government.
Okay, let's get back to vacation days and this unlimited vacation days when we'll step away from the maternity issue. But Peter, do you think that if companies offer this to people, do you think they would ultimately take advantage of it? And is there a point where, let's say you're the boss and I'm the employee and I say, I'm going to take 180 days off. Do you have a problem with that? I mean, ultimately, does it become an issue where there's too many days off?
I think it depends on the industry. For example, in the tech sector, if you're dealing with a cadre of very capable, innovative people committed to teamwork and so forth, there's going to be a lot of social pressure not to take too much and to take some at least, so that you don't become a bore at work from not recharging your batteries and being grumpy. So I think in that kind of environment it works. If you're talking about, say, the Ford Motor Company on the line, if you gave them unlimited vacation with the entitlement culture that exists with the UAW, heck, there would never be another F-150 made. They'd all be on vacation.
Let me get to this. Bernie Sanders is on a West Coast swing. He's trying to get the Democratic nominee against Hillary Clinton. He got 15,000 people in Seattle. That's 3 times bigger than as many people Hillary got to her opening salvo when she'd announced her running for office. In Portland, he got almost 20,000. And you know, one of the things that Bernie Sanders is offering is better benefits, both maternity, paternity, health benefits, all around. Look, I'm not a socialist. I'm not claiming anybody else is, but isn't there a trend in this country that they want companies that make all these profits to give more back to their employees?
I could certainly see that. I mean, I see both angles, but I really think it's up to the company and its culture, right? So if it's a company that's fueled by innovation, by growth, by letting the cream rise to the top, then offering these incentives to employees will really help charge them up and have them and keep them refreshed. You know, the other side of the coin, again, with the Ford example, that's exactly on point. Manufacturing, this...
All right, Tom Jelneck, I was going to thank you because I know our salad time was running tight there, but thank you again, Tom Jelneck from On Target Web Solutions. Peter,